Shalom, everybody. My name is Rabbi Josh Lobel. It's such a pleasure to be with you this morning for chapel. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about the story of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. And here we are. We're going to come back to some of these symbols in just a minute, but we can see Hanukkah, a very important, very wonderful Jewish holiday, is coming up in just a week. It's going to be really exciting for us. It's a really fun holiday. The kids love it, the adults love it, and it tells a very interesting story. And that's what we're going to begin with today. We'll dive right into the story of Hanukkah. So Hanukkah commemorates the victory of a small band of Jewish warriors known as the Maccabees. The Maccabees, it comes from the Hebrew word for hammer because they were as strong and as tough as a hammer. So in our story, were people who were living at that time who didn't want the Jewish people to be able to practice their religion anymore. They wanted everyone to be Greek. They wanted everyone to worship Zeus and to act in the Greek way. And there were some people who were like, yeah, that sounds, like a lot of fun. But other people said, no, that's not the right way to be. God, wants us to live a different way. We have a covenant. We have a relationship with God that is different. We don't want to eat pork chops. We don't want to, go into to idol worship. Instead, we want to worship God, study Torah, and live a meaningful Jewish life. And so this led to a little bit of a kerfuffle, a little bit of a battle. There's a lot of fighting going on. And during this time, the Greeks came in and they desecrated the temple. They put statues of Zeus and Apollo and Athena in the temple. They destroyed things. They made it look very messy, very unpleasant. And it was a very hard, very sad time for the Jewish people. But this band of Maccabees, these warriors, they fought even though they were a much smaller army, much smaller military power than the people they were fighting against. But they won, right? They were able to push back the Greek forces and able to reclaim the temple and be able to worship God how they saw fit. And so our second point here is that we had this moment of rededication of the temple. They cleaned out all that bad stuff that they didn't want there anymore, and they made it like it was before. Hanukkah comes from the Hebrew word for dedication, right? So that's where the name of the holiday, the name of the festival originates from the idea of dedication. Now, as part of this story, it's very famous. They were looking for oil because they used oil a lot in the temple for lighting lamps, amongst other things. So they had oil for the eternal light, but all the oil that was there should only have lasted one night, and they didn't have any more oil they could find. So they lit the lamp and hoped for the best. And wouldn't you know it, the oil lasted not one night, but 8 nights. It was a Hanukkah miracle. So Hanukkah really comes to teach us about the idea of religious identity. It's about people who didn't want to go along with everybody else. They didn't want to be like everybody else. They were proud of who they were and what they believed. And so it's a really great time to think about for Jewish people, really for everybody, about how proud we can be of our own faith, of our own traditions, of who we are. Now, there are a few different symbols of Hanukkah that I think we should discuss just for a moment. We have a menorah, sometimes also known as Chanukiah. These are our candelabras. These are our lamps that we light during the festival. We can have some with candles like we see here, and we also have ones that are oil-based lamps. And these lamps commemorate the idea that the holiday lasts 8 nights, because the oil lasted 8 nights. That's why we have 8 nights of Hanukkah. In addition to the menorah, we have latkes. Who doesn't love a latke? Delicious fried pancakes, fried potato pancakes. We have them because, once again, goes back to the oil. The oil lasted 8 nights. We're really into oil during this festival. So we raise our cholesterol a little bit and fry up some potato pancakes and have them either with applesauce or sour cream, amongst other toppings. If you don't like sort of salty and crunchy, that's okay. We have something else for you too. Sufganiyot. Sufganiyot is our jelly donuts, chocolate donuts, big stuffed donuts that are delicious and sweet and sugary, also fried in oil. You guessed it. So we have our latkes that are fried in oil and our donuts that are fried in oil. Moving away from oil for a second, another wonderful tradition, another thing that is fun to do during Hanukkah is to play dreidel. And so dreidel is a top. It's a really fun game. And on the dreidel, you have four different Hebrew letters: Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin. And it stands for Nes Gadol Haya Sham. A great miracle happened there. And so if you get Gimel, so what everyone does is you put a coin, or you put some M&Ms or some Hanukkah gelt, some chocolates or some peanuts, whatever you want, into the middle, so you have a little bit of a group of candy or small coins. And then you spin the dreidel. And if a nun comes up, you get nothing. If a gimel comes up, gimel's like gimme, so you take everything that's in the middle. Hey, you get half, and shin, you put two in. And so you keep playing until somebody collects all of the coins, all of the nuts, all of the candies, whatever you're playing with, and it's a really fun time. But we spin the dreidel to teach us this lesson, to think about Hanukkah, that a great miracle once happened a long time ago in the land of Israel. So when we talk about the idea of nes, of miracle, and we're going to conclude here with this idea, what does this miracle refer to? It can refer to the miracle of the victory, or the military victory of the Maccabees over their enemies, over their rivals, because it was a small group defeating a much larger army. That could be the miracle. It could also mean the miracle of the oil, right? That the oil lasted 8 nights instead of just one. I like to think of it as a miracle when people stand up for themselves and stand up for what is right. Because it's very easy sometimes for people to just go along, or to change because of peer pressure, or to, sort of put away a little bit of who they are in order to fit in with everybody else. And for me, I think it's a miracle when we are able to stand up and be proud of who we are, and to proclaim our identity, to really love ourselves. And so that's the message I want to leave you with today, is that in observance of Hanukkah, but really all the time, we should always cherish who we are. Cherish our beliefs, cherish our customs, our values, cherish every bit of ourselves. Because when we do that, the world becomes a much brighter place. We'll see you all again another time. Have a happy, wonderful holiday season. Bye, everybody. Shalom.